is Joy News Prime.
Indeed, you're welcome to another edition of Joy News Prime, your most comprehensive 2 hours of television news in Ghana. My name is Israel Live. Over the next 2 hours, Parliament assures consideration of the much-anticipated Right to Information Bill will begin from next week so that it could hopefully be passed into law before the end of this year. In the ongoing spat between the two leading political parties and President Mohammed's State of the Nation address, the MPP in the latest salvo is daring government to arrest its flag bearer over his role in the controversial drill ship saga. Violence erupts in Brunhafu region town of Proto. Would be getting a live update on the situation.
And coming up in business, recent crude oil price decline posing a threat to new oil and gas projects as Ghana explores onshore Voltairean Basin.
Also in the bulletin, Accra Metropolitan Assembly counts on ongoing dredging of Korle Lagoon to end perennial flooding in the capital. There will also be entertainment, sports, and Joy News Interactive in the second hour of this bulletin, which is also available across Europe on ABN television on the Sky platform. Stay tuned. Now, Parliament is expected to start considering the much-anticipated Right to Information Bill next week and hopefully pass it into law before its term expires at the end of this year. Anti-corruption crusaders believe passage of the law will be a major boost in their efforts to rid the country of corruption. Next week's consideration of the bill will be the latest attempt to eventually put on the country's statute books an act which has already survived 3 parliaments.
Amendments running into thousands captured in a 52-page document. The majority leader in Parliament, Alban Bagbin, says consideration of the bill will dominate business of the House next week before rising on March 17. The bill, when passed, will afford the public the right to access permissible information from public institutions. Addressing Parliament on the issue, Majority Leader Alban Bagbin called on members to avail themselves and participate fully when the consideration starts next week.
So there was a rethinking on this whole bill. The whole continent decided to take it up, and it took some time before a model law was passed by our presidents and heads of state at the AU level. And it is that model law which is now informing various countries as to how to domesticate the laws in their country. So it's taking some time, and that is true. But we have to, looking at the skeletal bill that they brought, make a lot of amendments, and it covers 52 pages amendments. That is voluminous, and I think that members should take time to go through it so that you can explain. It's a complete transformation of the bill that was brought to the House, complete change in direction and policy, and that is why we need the minister to be available, because we can do it because most of the proposed amendments are things that members will readily agree. There is a pressure, because I'm getting the reaction. There is a pressure at the level of the Ministry of Justice and Attorney General. And we had an opportunity of referring one to them. I took about 6 months to come back. We think that is on the high side. If we refer this one, it will take a year or more. And so we want to take it through. After all, the final authority of legislating, of passing laws, rests with this House. So I think that we are capable of doing that.
Right, so the decision or the assurances from Parliament comes just after Multimedia had presented a petition to the Speaker saying that it needed that bill passed as quickly as possible. And I'm joined on the phone line now by legal practitioner Samson Ladi Ayenini. He also hosts Joy FM's News File. In fact, Joy News' news file, and he's going to be talking to us a bit more about this latest information we're getting from Parliament. Good evening to you, Samson, and thanks for joining us.
Hi.
All right, so you've heard from Parliament, the Majority Leader Alban Bagbin, giving the assurance that consideration of the bill is going to start from next week. How convinced are you that this time around we're going to see the bill pass into law?
It's good news, and we all have to welcome it and expect that they will expedite action on it, because if they don't, we will continue to drum home the fact that that bill, which is actually a bill that is in consonance with Article 21 of the Constitution, Article 21F, which says that all citizens have a fundamental right to information. We are not asking about information about the personal life or the private activities of the public officers of the president and his appointees. It is simply to ask for information about how our taxes are used, how governance is done on our behalf, purportedly. And this is so basic, it ought to have been achieved long ago. I appreciate some of the concerns that he raises, but I need to also note that as many as 16 or so proposed amendments that were made after the law could not be passed, the bill could not be passed in the first, in the parliament that expired in 2012, this bill was resubmitted 2013. So he refers to the model law that had to be made. By the time the amendments were made, the model law had already come into being. And the proposed amendments that were submitted to Parliament were amendments that were guided by the model law. So since 2013, what was submitted was in good shape and was in accordance with both our Constitution and also the model law that he refers to. So if he's saying that between 2016 and now, they have suffered some delays, that's absolutely delayed. That's suffered occasions in the House of Parliament. Okay, so Israel, the point again ought to be made clearly. Is some people think this bill or law is for media people. It's not for media people. It's for any ordinary citizen at all to be able to get up and go say, I am aware there is a investigations done into Bas branding saga. I want the report. So that when you say you want the report, and you're asking it from either the Transport Ministry or the Attorney General's department, they have no obligation but to give it to you. As we know now, Occupy Ghana, for example, has demanded that report. They were denied it. They were told that they cannot be given. They have had to take a suit to go to court to compel them to give that information to Occupy Ghana to share with the public. The Gitmo 2 and then matters about Mary and all of that, information has been, shrouded in secrecy. Citizen Ghana has sued for the information regarding the Mary, power plant project. This law is to empower the citizen to ask for information, and the public officer will be under obligation to supply the information.
Right.
It is the reason multimedia and myself insist and make the argument that you cannot at this time be seeking to run and rush into passing a spy law when the information we want from you for how you use our taxes, you are not willing to give us that law. But a law to spy on our private lives, you are in a hurry about it. Never mind that we already have about 7 different laws that can be used and are being used already to spy where it is necessary.
Great. Samson, you talk about the fact that, we are all aware that you just presented, yourself and multimedia, presented a petition to the Speaker just this week. Would you say that this is the reason why we're seeing this happening now?
I suspect it to be part of the force that has been brought to bear on the members of Parliament. And that was the expectation, isn't it? I think that we should look at it in a positive light rather than look at it as if, oh, but for all of the pressure, nothing would have happened. I only want to say that we should be delighted that the Right to Information Bill Coalition has done a lot up to this time. What do you call the Commonwealth Human Rights Initiative, the lawyer Akotampao, who is playing a lead role in all of these, they have done a lot. But when they indicated that they were in a hurry to pass a spy bill, Multimedia took the view that if they have to consider that bill at all, they must first of all pass the Right to Information law. And they obviously have listened. The petition was sent to the Speaker. It was copied to Abangbagbe himself. It was copied to the minority leader. It was copied to the committee that is responsible for constitutional and legal affairs in the House. They are all privy to it now. And we gave them cogent reasons why that law ought not to stay in the Parliament and die with this Parliament again.
All right.
It must not be said that one law was put in that Parliament, and that law is about our individual right of the citizens to know. And that law, had gone through 2 different parliaments and was not passed. But when it came to a spy bill, which is not urgent, which is not actually necessary, we were rushing to pass it under a month.
All right.
So that's all the points we made. And if they have listened and they want to act, I think that it is in good order, but they must act expeditiously.
Okay.
Of course, the opposition says that when they come into power, they will pass the Right to Information Bill. And others said that after we sent our request again. So, well, the politics will also come into play. I guess the NDC will not want the NPP to have a campaign message to say that they didn't pass the Right to Information Bill, and so they are the ones to pass it.
Okay, thank you very much, Samson Ladia-Yenini. And Samson Ladia-Yenini is a legal practitioner who also hosts Newsfile here on Joy News. Staying with Parliament, the House is demanding a national strategy and action plan to address the menace of headquarters, popularly known as Kayaye. According to the Committee on Gender and Children, the phenomenon has taken a national dimension and requires appropriate measures to deal with it. Chairperson of the committee, Ladi Ayi Ayamba, says until a long-term measure is adopted by the nation, the migration of females, especially from the 3 regions of the north to the south, to engage in menial jobs will continue.
According to the committee's report, the Ministry of Gender, Children and Social Protection estimates that about 2,500 females are engaged in the Kayayu business in Accra and Kumasi. It, however, quotes research from 2 non-governmental organizations, People Dialogue and the Ghana Federation of Urban Poor, as putting the number at between 15 and 17,000. In the observation of the committee, until government commissions a research into the issue, the true number cannot be established. Moving the motion for the adoption of the committee's report, the chairperson, who is also the MP for Pusiga, Ladi Ayamba, identifies poverty and financial difficulties, climate change and its impact on rain-fed agriculture, inability to complete education due to lack of funds, and irresponsible parentage as factors responsible for the migration from the north to the south to do head porting. She said female porters interviewed confirmed suffering rape, sexual harassment, and harassment from city authorities. She is demanding a national approach to deal with the issue.
The Ministry of Gender, Children and Social Protection should be given the needed support in developing policies that would help in the reduction in the level of migration. The Children's Act should also be strictly implemented to ensure that children are not used in the Kayaye trade. The budget allocation to the ministry should again be increased to enable it tackle all socio-cultural issues effectively and efficiently. In the light of the above, the committee recommends the report to the House for adoption.
Contributors to the motion want government and opinion leaders to lead a crusade to end the menace.
Young girls are moving from the Brong-Ahafo region, the Volta region, Ashanti and even Eastern region to Accra and engaging in the Kayaye activities. And as much as this will be due to the social pressures within the system, I would say that principally, as a country, we've not taken serious our socio-cultural practices. Mr. Speaker, within our system, when we were growing up, it was said, especially in my language, that Mokome 4, Shije Mokome 4. Meaning, one person gives birth to a child, but it is not only the responsibility of that person to take care of the child. It means that the whole family, our family system, our extended family system, was the response mechanism to take over the shocks of the weaknesses in a particular nuclear family structure. But today we have a country whereby each one for himself, God for us all. Most of the people who were or who are presently at Fadama, Old Fadama, are people who hitherto were attending school. They have been lured by the comfort of city life and have abandoned education, have abandoned the future, their own future, or the prospects of a brighter future, and living in such inhumane conditions. And that is why a report like that presented by the committee ought to be supported, so that we can bring those people who appear presently to be on the fringes of society along with us. We don't leave them behind. Mr. Speaker, if we leave them behind, we might be jeopardizing our own security.
We have a youth unemployment problem. And as a country, we tickle ourselves that we are doing something. No. Please, as a political class, the time has come for us to realize that when we leave office, the legacies that we are going to leave will be legacies that people will ask, are they legacies that are changing the values of the people, or it's legacies of brick and mortar? I don't think that is it. But having said this, I'm saying that please, let us move from talk to action. I am fed up with talking. I'm fed up with talking.
You're watching Joy News Prime. We're taking a break. We'll be back with more. Please don't go away. Welcome back to Joy News Prime. And the controversy over President John Mahama's State of the Nation address is far from over. More than a week after he delivered the speech, the New Patriotic Party is still challenging some of the key issues raised in the address. The flag bearer of the largest opposition party organized what he called the true State of the Nation soon after the president's speech and accused him of being dishonest to Ghanaians. In a sharp rebuttal, the National Democratic Congress organized a news conference and questioned Nana Akufo-Addo's moral authority to criticize the president. They indicated, among others, that the former Attorney General is to blame for the controversial GNPC drill ship saga. But the NPP, in its reaction on Friday, said the NDC is diluting the facts.
As we all know, the drill ship related debt was actually a debt owed by the GNPC to Société Générale, which amounted to $47 million by the time the NPP government under President Kufuor took office. Asiedu Kotia misguided and erroneous reference to Nana Akufo-Addo alleged incompetence is born out of the usual ignorance or deliberate attempt to mislead the public. Now, what are the facts of the so-called drill ship saga, which should properly be called the Chikata GNPC debt saga? Mr. Chikata, the then chief executive of GNPC, against all corporate governance, best practices and principles, contracted a debt from the French bank Société Générale and pledged the drill ship discoverer 511 owed by GNPC as collateral against the debt, without any authority from GNPC board of directors whatsoever. When Chikata and GNPC defaulted, the debt was inherited by the Kufuor administration and Akufo-Addo as Attorney General. After reviewing the facts and merits of the case, chose to settle the matter with the approval of the President. As it turns out, ladies and gentlemen, instead of $47 million, Ghana paid $19.5 million after the drill ship Discoverer was sold for $24 million to defray the settlement. The total debt owed to them was $47 million. We ended up paying, after extensive negotiation with them, ended up paying $19.5 million. Later, the drill ship was sold for $24 million to defray the settlement. How anyone who helped save this country nearly $30 million can be said to have caused financial loss to the state simply boggles the mind. This was a mess created by the GNPC under the leadership of Chachu Chikata and the first NDC government, and cleared up by Nana Addo and the Kufuor administration. This bogus and propaganda allegation, which is founded on the equally bogus propaganda report of the Judgment Day Commission, should be dismissed by all right-thinking Ghanaians.
Now, the MPP is also accusing Supreme Court Judge Justice Apao of doing the bidding of government to secure his appointment as he served as Judgment Day Commissioner. So after the news briefing, Joy News' Kwacha Frenuama caught up with Communications Director of the party, Nana Komia, and asked him, what real proof does the party have to accuse Justice Apao?
You mean you want us to show you a paper that shows that he's been rewarded for work against the NPP? Is that what you mean? Yeah, well, so what thing would you accept as a proof? You have to look at the circumstances, Mr. Kwachiafre. You must look at the circumstances. A lot of the time when you go to court, they look at the circumstances. They do cross-examination. They look at whatever is there and come to a conclusion on the preponderance of evidence. That's what we are doing. That's why we're saying to you, when you look at the conduct, you can't explain it. How do you make adverse findings against the main political opponent of the country without giving him a hearing? And that alone betrays the plot. Even if you've made up your mind that this is the action that you want to take against the man, at least go through it properly. Give him a hearing so the whole country will know the basis of his action. You don't give him a hearing at all, so the country doesn't even get the benefit of knowing why he did what he did. And then you go ahead and then to pronounce a judgment on him. And then you are rewarded the next immediately with some big position. Well, people will conclude that the whole thing is a plot.
Now, there have been gunshots at Proto near Kintampo North in the Brunahafo region, following chieftaincy clashes there. This follows a long-standing chieftaincy dispute which compelled one of the chiefs to leave the town. About 3 houses have been burned so far, with some residents saying they are leaving the town as they are not assured they will be safe there. Correspondent Anas Sabit joins me over the telephone with an update on the situation. Anas, what can you tell us as far as those violent clashes there are concerned?
Let me briefly tell you what resulted into this particular clash. It's been a long-standing issue, as you rightly said. About 7 months ago, the conflict broke out, and then one of the chiefs of the 2 factions had to leave the township. And then just yesterday, he returned into the township, and the other side believes his return is going to, ignite the conflict between the 2 factions. So they were calling for his immediate departure. Early this morning at about 8 a.m., the youth went on rampage, issuing some gunshots as well as setting some houses ablaze. That's briefly what has happened here in Porto, in the Kingdom of District.
Right, and now, so what's the situation now? Has calm been restored? Have some people been arrested?
Yeah, we called the Kintampo police. They went to the ground, and they were able to restore calm on the field. But as to whether some arrests have been made, they are yet to brief us on that particular one. But there's calm in the township as we speak now.
But do we have any casualties at all?
No casualties yet. We are yet to hear of any casualty. But what we can report is that 6 houses were set ablaze there.
All right, thank you very much. And Asabe joining us with the very latest on some violent clashes at Proto in the Brahafo region. You're watching Joy News Prime. Still to come, Accra Metropolitan Assembly counts on ongoing dredging of Korle Lagoon to end perennial flooding in the capital. And then a lot later to come on Abraham Atta, the Ghana's latest acting sensation. He's back in town, and he's had a few things to say about acting in Ghana. We'll bring you all that. Please stay tuned. It's time for business, and Emmanuel has joined me. Good evening to you,
Hey,
Emmanuel.
good evening, sir.
How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm fine. I'm fine.
I like your multimedia outfit.
Well, it's good. I know.
Yeah?
It could be better.
I'm sure you're feeling good in it.
Yes, I do. I feel so confident in it.
All right. What's coming up in business?
Well, in business, the global price, crude oil price decline is really affecting all developing countries, especially oil-producing countries. And there's no gainsay that Ghana is suffering more because
I thought the price has been picking up in recent
times.
It
is recovering gradually, but we can't say that we have reached a peak or it's a point that we can.
Well, far from peak, but
about, yeah.
If it's recovering, we can expect that it will keep going up.
Yes, it is recovering, but you know our targets or revenue targets have been hit because they were set before this recovery period, and the fact that new discoveries should also come in stream or on stream, this is also going to affect those developments, and it's not too good for a country like Ghana.
All right, let's hear what you have to say about it.
All right, so it's time for business. The recent decline in prices of crude oil might not only be affecting government revenue targets, but also poses a threat to funding new oil projects in the country. This is more crucial as the country explores its onshore potential in the Voltairean Basin. George Rafi has been engaging Vice President of Demont Oil and Gas Construction and Engineering Company, Ian Gringa, on this issue.
Found around the globe that none of the projects that we have that have already been sanctioned and approved and have capital committed have been stopped or deferred. What we are finding is that new developments that are still in concept or early stages and have not been approved or had final investment decision, some of those projects are being stalled and delayed, and some are being cancelled, of course. So we're working closely with the operators here in Ghana and in the rest of the world to help them to try and make their fields economic at a lower oil price. So one of our new developments, we set up a joint venture specifically to work with our clients to help to reduce the overall cost of developments, to help those projects move ahead. The individual projects, of course, have different economic break-even points, effectively. I think at $30 a barrel, some of those deep developments, some of those deep offshore developments will be challenged to be economic at $30 a barrel unless we can reduce the costs. But of course, we expect that over time the oil price will recover and those projects will be economic sometime in the future. The timing, of course, is uncertain, and the oil price is outside of our control. What is within our control is the ability to reduce the costs on those developments, and we're working together with our clients in other parts of the world to help them reduce the overall cost of their developments, to help them move ahead at lower oil prices.
Meanwhile, as Ghana sets its eyes on the prospects of the Voltairean Basin, which forms about a quarter of the total land mass of the country, some experts have called for more local ownership for onshore blocks as opposed to what pertains offshore. Now, sharing his thoughts on the marketplace today, energy analyst Kwame Jantua urged the GNPC to lead the drive in helping Ghanaian companies build global brands to take up ownership of the onshore petroleum investments.
Where onshore development is concerned, the amount of finance you need is not as heavy as offshore.
Okay.
What do you really need for onshore? You need an implement called a donkey head, and you need a reservoir where you'll be able to keep the oil and gas when you discover or when you produce. And so the investment that you need for onshore is not that much.
Okay.
However, because that investment is not much, some of us have said that we should leave onshore for Ghanaian companies alone. And Ghanaian companies from this point on should try and build capacity within themselves to be able to do onshore production. And so it's important that what GMPC is doing, Ghanaian companies who are interested in going into onshore should link up with GMPC so that they follow the process as to where GMPC is today. Finance companies, from what I know, finance companies and investment houses, if they realize there's a huge potential of hydrocarbons in a particular area, they invest for the future. Okay. It's like what America is doing today. They are buying oil left, right, center and storing it. Because definitely the prices are not going to remain subdued for 5 years. The prices would rise. And because of the volatility of prices, you cannot say because of that you're not going to invest.
All right, so away from crude oil, only 30% of Ghanaians access financial services on their mobile phones. That's according to the latest report by communications and technology services firm Ericsson. Although mobile money services have gained roots in the country in recent years, 69% of transactions are carried out by agents. Government is therefore being charged to address the factors hindering mobile money transactions. Senior advisor at Ericsson Consumer Lab, Patrick Headland, briefed Joy Business at the launch of the Sub-Saharan Commerce Report by Ericsson.
Ghana is, of course, a market where mobile money is happening today, I would say. There are a lot of people using mobile money today. The conditions are also favorable, so a high number of people have a mobile phone today in Ghana. In our sample, we get 93% have a mobile phone in any form. However, there are quite high number of banks today in Ghana. This is, of course, interesting because we see that today the adoption of mobile money has been higher among the banked compared to the unbanked. Few use bank transfers for sending money. Well, still, when we talk about transfers, we see that even that people have a bank account, cash is the preferred way to do this today. Quite a few people, compared to the SSA numbers in general, have loans. So if you remember, I said that totally in Sub-Saharan Africa, 12% had some kind of loan. But here in Ghana, only 3% have loans. And they do it typically with a microfinancial institution today. A lot of people use mobile money agents in Ghana, as you can see. There is a quite high level of awareness and a quite high level of usage of any form of mobile money services, but we think that, of course, this could be higher. And in Ghana, the consumers see the mobile network operator as quite high when it comes to be a service provider.
Now, in Polugu, a tomato factory built in 1965 to process tomatoes for local consumption and for export is wasting away as local tomato farmers in the Upper East region suffer heavy post-harvest losses. Justice Beidou visited the town as part of a documentary series on Ghana's industrial history and has filed this report.
Farming under a scorching savanna sun could be back-breaking, but these men brave it.
You see that you start it with your strength that you have. You try to gather all the resources that you have to make sure that you get your farm look neat, get good fruit in. But when the problem that you normally face that you don't get the people to come and buy. See, the tomato will be there rotting, nobody comes in to buy. That's the main challenge that we are facing, because you'll be able to produce the tomato, but the buying stage you will not get. And we don't have cool houses here whereby we'll keep the tomato.
And that is a story of Baba Akolbire. He cultivated his 10-acre tomato farm with a 3,000 cedi loan from a local bank. It's nearly a month after his tomatoes were ripe for harvest, but he looks on as they rot away because there are no buyers.
Because my business like $1 new car, so my lagalabna da car dear was our yobla, but I didn't Maradik Mulo Sina Maradik Mulo Kupa and Lagalabala, the Kenga and Makinda Pingy, Ligripa. Bamara Ping Ligame by 50 million pa, Ligaton. So none one ping is in a Macaya gown as young ping because the Sushu Daka to the Enga.
Ghana spent over $1 billion importing consumables, including tomato pastes, every year. Here, you've got about 5 different brands of the tomato paste. You have got here the Super Saha, and on there it says made in China. You have the Nova, which is also made in China as well. You have got the Lavance, which...
All right, so the full documentary Ghost Factory starts airing on Joy News on radio and television from Monday. Do stay tuned. It's now time to go to the stock markets, and as usual, John Amako is here to tell us more. John, today is Friday.
Ima, it is a Friday.
Yes.
I'll not allow you to lie. It is a Friday. Simply speaking, the market really could not recover from Monday. We were still well away, as we saw, almost about 83,000 and all. So that is basically it. Still, capitalization is still down. But there's something going on the international market to do with crude oil, gold, and cocoa. On the average, crude oil has been gaining almost about $1 a day from last time, because it started almost around 32, and now it's about $38 per barrel. So I'm very sure by Monday we're going to hit the 40 mark, basically so. So that is quite significant.
Yes, Before you even go on, why is this trend? Is it only because of the crude oil freeze, or is it because...
the freeze is part of it, but you know what? Saudi Arabia has actually started implementing their bit of the bargain. Okay, Iran, Iraq are saying no. They have a backlog to clear, because you know Iran, let me say, just came out of jail. Okay, out of that. So it's like they still want to sort of like impress their suppliers, and that is exactly what they are doing. So they are not cutting. Okay, the United States, the shale technology is also suffering because of the lower price. You know, shale technology is very expensive, and the prices are very low now. So these numbers aren't actually comparing. And as a shale, United States cannot cut down. So basically, that's how come it's gradually responding. But Saudi Arabia is actually responding. So that's how come we are seeing this. And gold is also going up just because of the fact that China and India are also responding. They are now buying just as reserve currencies for their currency. So that's how exactly we're seeing gold and crude going up. So I'm expecting by Monday or by the end of next week to see crude to hit $40, $41 per barrel.
Quickly take us through maybe the stocks and then...
That's exactly it. The stock market has not much, like I did say earlier, but then with the currencies, the United States dollar lost to the Ghana cedi. So for one US dollar, you would only need about 3 Ghana cedis, 86 pesos. Exactly. But apart from that, it lost to almost all other major trading currencies, like the British pound, the euro, and then the Chinese one. So that's it for the Friday. Exactly.
Thank you very much. You have a lovely weekend.
Same to you, bro.
Okay, that was John Amwaku. My name is Emmanuel Apuaji. Thanks for watching the Business Reports. Good evening.
And thank you very much, Emmanuel, for the business. And going on to other stories, some members of the Ghana Union of Traders Association, GUTA, in Accra have opened their shops despite suggestions from the leadership that the strike is to be extended to other parts of the country. Some shop owners at UTC and Abosokai, all in the Central Business District, say they were told to call off the strike on Wednesday. Beatrice Edu has the rest of the story.
It's a busy day here at UTC in Accra. Lots of shops have opened. Some of them belong to GUTA, others don't. Those who belong to GUTA say that their strike started from Monday, and as at Wednesday they ended it. So today being Friday, it's a normal day for them. Trading activities are going on. I have one of them here, Jason, who deals in center tables, and he will talk to us about how business has been for him since they resumed work fully. Hello, Jason.
Hi.
So how has it been since you resumed?
Actually, things are not going on well. Since we resumed, market is not been going on well. Things are falling, but then we are hoping to see whether things will still rise up again.
Okay, we were told that the strike was being extended to other parts of the country and that there will be demonstrations and all of that. Why is that not happening here today?
Actually, that one I can't tell. I can't tell, because we were being given 3 days, and the 3 days we are with it. We are done with it.
I'm here at Abosokai, which is the spare parts hub. I have Mr. Okoto here, who is also a member of GUTA.
I think yesterday is the last day we finished the strike.
I think others finished on Wednesday
too. We are still looking for government and listening to what government will say about the strike.
Would you say you got something from the strike?
Yeah, anyway, our Abosokai spare parts leaders meeting today. So we are looking for next week. They tell us that by Thursday, we are all going to wear black or red to do the demonstration again, to wait for the government, what government will tell the Abosokai or the GUTA people.
But so far, what have you been told by your leaders as to what is happening?
Oh, anyway, the Abosokai people, the
leaders of GUTA and your representatives from Abosokai.
Only today, Abosokai people met today for the another meeting. So our leaders told the members that we should wait until Thursday. So Thursday, we didn't hear anything from the government. Everybody should wear black or red shirt.
Well, the Accra Metropolitan Assembly is confident of a successful National Sanitation Day exercise tomorrow as it directs all shops in the metropolis to close down ahead of the exercise. Public Relations Officer of the AMA, Numo Blafo, has been explaining how they intend to achieve that.
This is not the first time, and that we have done it severally. Because when we are in the area and people are working and we see shops open, we lock up those shops. That we do. And most of the time, during the sanitation day, you don't find the shops open. But the unfortunate issue is that the people will lock the shops, yet they won't work. They will just wait till after 10 and then they open. Maybe one sanitation day, go out and see. You see that most of the shops are locked.
So with this issue about dealing with the refuse that are collected as a result of this National Sanitation Day exercise, the trucks that are supposed to come around to pick some of these refuse and even the tools for communities to work with, a lot of people still do not have it. How do we address that?
Not providing tools. Everybody in your home, at least you have a cutlass. You have a broom. At least
cutlass in my house.
You have a broom. Don't you sweep your room, your house? Yes. So we don't expect that you do something extraordinary. It's just the same way you wake up every morning and you clean your surroundings. That is all.
Some areas are really choked that you need certain specific tools which are not common in our homes to work with.
We have different types of drains. You understand? I don't expect you to go and work in the storm drain. I don't expect you to go and work in the U drain.
All right, and staying with drains, Accra Metropolitan Assembly is confident that the ongoing dredging of the Koli Lagoon will avert floods when the rain setting later this year. The dredging is part of the first phase of the Accra Sanitary Sewer and Storm Water Drainage Alleviation Project, popularly referred to as a Conti project, and is expected to end by June this year.
Choked drains in the Accra metropolis have been a major contributory factor to the perennial flooding in parts of the country. As part of measures to avert floods in the rainy season, the Accra Metropolitan Assembly has begun clearing drainage channels in the metropolis. This exercise, embarked on by the AMA, is part of its emergency flood prevention measures in place. A visit to the Koli Lagoon area revealed that the dredging is progressing steadily.
Now it's like they've collected they've done the difficult parts. And now what they are doing now is sucking up the mud with water and then pumping it into the embankment. So when it settles, the water will just flow through those pipes. And then the left behind, that is the debris that will be left behind, will be collected and then taken to the dump site.
What can you say about the current state of work as we see? Are we getting closer to really dredging the entire Odo drain completely?
Of course, yes, because if you see what is going on now, all I want to say is that this is not a one-off thing, because constantly the sea is bringing in sand. when it rains and the rainwater is also coming, it also brings sand. So anytime or every time there's sand coming into the Korle Lagoon, and when it settles, then it becomes very hard. So if we constantly keep on removing whatever is there and whatever will come, we will have an open channel for rainwater, free flow of rainwater.
How soon are we expecting this to be completed?
What I'm saying is that this is not to be completed tomorrow or next tomorrow. It's an ongoing process until, because even if we complete removing what we can see, we don't know what has settled under. So for that, I can't say that we are going to finish today or tomorrow. It's an ongoing thing that we are doing.
The project, expected to be executed in phases, involves the dredging of the Odo stream, starting from the Korle Lagoon Ecological Restoration Project, construction of an engineered sanitary landfill site where all garbage will be processed and recycled for other purposes, as well as the construction of 50 public toilets and the operation and maintenance of wastewater treatment plant at Jamestown, among others.
You're watching Joy News Prime, and still to come in the bulletin, MPP running mate Dr. Mamadou Bawumia redeems his pledge to donate desks to a primary school in the Upper West region. We'll be telling you about that. We'll also tell you the impact of a collapsed factory on a town here in Ghana. Up next, we bring you international news. We have the chemistry. Oh, it's our time for, well, if we has joined me, she's going to be telling us what's coming up on
I've joined Israel, and Israel is thinking too much about what to say before I tell you what's coming up on JNI.
Right, so carry on.
Let me carry on. I'm really excited today because Independence Day is right around the corner. So in honor of Ghana Month, we are asking, what is your best and worst thing about the country?
Well, so far it has been the electricity. It has improved quite well, and we are really enjoying it.
The economic situation over right now, right now there's unemployment in the system, and then people are suffering. People even can't make 3 square meals a day.
So we have someone with his best and his worst thing about the country. Now, are you worried about the number of people dying within political circles?
I remember in December, there were some prophets who prophesied that there will be a lot of deaths this year ahead of the election. I'm not surprised it's happening.
And Abraham Atta is back in the country after having fun in Hollywood.
Hi, Ibrahim. How are you? Good, welcome.
Oh, thanks.
How are you doing?
I'm doing great.
Now, how was the experience?
Well, it was a little bit crazy. Yeah.
Please join me with your comments on the interactive segment in the next hour. Israel.
Yeah, and you don't want to miss that interview with Abraham Atta. No way you're not going to miss that one. So stay tuned. We'll have all that coming up. First, there's going to be one slot coming up in entertainment with Miss G, and then Join Us Interactive would also make a meal out of it. Because it's on social, no, it's on social media and people are talking about it. So clearly, we'll bring you
a lot of comments on it, actually.
Okay, sure. Right, so do stay tuned. We have all that coming up in a bit.
This is Joy News Prime.
Now, a quick look at the stories we've been looking at in the past. Parliament assures consideration of the much anticipated Right to Information Bill will begin from next week so that it could hopefully be passed into law before the end of this year. In the ongoing spat between the two leading political parties on President Mohammed's State of the Nation address, the NPP in the latest salvo is daring government to arrest its flag bearer over his role in the controversial drilled ship saga. Violence erupts in Brongahafo region town of Roto. In business, recent crude oil price decline posing a threat to new oil and gas projects as Ghana explores onshore Voltaire basin. The parliamentary candidate for the NPP in the Wa Central constituency, Alhaji Isaaku Tahiru, says the donation of 250 dual desks to Perihi MA Primary School by Dr. Baumia is a sign of benefits they will get should they be given the opportunity to rule the country. Speaking at a short ceremony where he presented 250 dual desks promised to the school about a fortnight ago by the NPP running mate, Alhaji Tahiru blamed what he called inhuman teaching conditions at the school on the Member of Parliament for the Wa Central constituency, Dr. Rashid Pelfu, for concentrating on developing himself rather than the constituents.
Following Joy News report last week on the state of the Peri MA Primary School, where pupils sat on the dirty bare floor to listen to their teachers teach and lie prostrate when they are given class exercise to do, running mate of the New Patriotic Party, Dr. Mahmoud Baumia, visited the school to see the situation for himself. Worried about the situation, he promised to order school furniture for 500 pupils. The pupils were on recreation when the truck carrying the furniture appeared at the school. The pupils, upon seeing the truck with the furniture, started jubilating and even competed among themselves as to who would sit in the furniture first. New Patriotic Party parliamentary candidate for Wa Central constituency, Alhaji Isaaku Tahiru, in a short remark before he presented the 250 dual decks to the Parent Teacher Association PTA of the school, stated that the kind gesture by the running mate of the MPP is an epitome of what the MPP and its flag bearer have beneath their sleeves if given opportunity to rule the country.
The school has been dealt with this issue for the past 5 years back, and in fact, if he was an up-and-doing member of parliament, and a member of parliament that can take care of his people, this problem would have been long solved before Dr. Mahmoud Baumia come to see it. But he's not been able to do it as a result of his inefficiency and ineptitude and his greed. Education, as we all know, is the bedrock for every development and is the pivot on which every nation turns around. But our member of parliament has not given any serious attention to education. So we want to entreat on people from Wa Central that this gesture shown by Dr. Mahmoud Baumia is an epitome of what His Excellency in waiting, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, when he comes to power, what he do for the entire nation and for Wa Central in particular.
Chairman of the PTA of the school, Mohamed Yakubu, thanked Dr. Mahmoud Baumia and the MPP for the kind gesture and promised to put them into good use. On Monday, Upper West Regional Minister Alhaji Amin Amid Suleimani donated 200 dual decks to the school on behalf of the Ministry of Education and the Wa Municipal Assembly. Reporting for Joy News, Rafik Salam, Perihi.
That report was by Rafiq Salam. Now, what does an industrial collapse do to a town? In Abosso, a once thriving industrial town, the collapse of a glass factory and the state gold mining company has caused a lack of jobs, forcing young people into illegal mining. Joining us, Justice Bedu went down a Galamsey pit with some of these young people to find out how this is affecting their lives. Justice's work, titled Ghost Factories, goes on the Joy News channel from Monday. But ahead of that, we bring you excerpts in the following report.
Down, down they go. A journey several meters underground. These are illegal miners in Abosso, a town in Ghana's western region. This town, once upon a time, was an industrial enclave. With rich gold and manganese deposits, it hosted the Abosso Glass Factory and the State Gold Mining Corporation. 60 years on, they've all collapsed.
Fish, so bindi. Tiesra wambo sunuma and bindi. Abosu newo. Takwa bosu newo sunwa. Sisi agana pama wasaka paka fa wansi dipu wabruku. Dasu yintumi yebi. Tuambu atakwa bosu man. Esra
Think about 6 kilometers down the belly of the earth. That's how far many young people here would have to go to find gold. And hundreds of people, men and women, would go into pits like these every day. This is just one of the many harsh realities of a lack of jobs in mining towns like Aboso.
I am the quiz, but I'm nicknamed Tompo, now man for the new Mogalam Senum.
Outside the pit, I meet 32-year-old Obri. His parents came to work for the glass factory in its heydays 30 years ago in Aboso. He fell out of school when his father was laid off as the factory folded up.
Because of a human mesa wire basan, Nasun Kajumati through oh, Hank, any bimobo so many Jumana. In Coba may be a ditching at the same, be an anywhere, or Bajano Kama, but a Jumani Yaden, Uncle Dunitino. Am I a wire basawa, a Juma amount for so Wayan Wahadia on any the Majuma.
The result of young people flocking Galamsey sites is not hard to find in Aboso. The Divestiture Implementation Committee, the government office supposed to be managing these factories, refused to be interviewed for this program. They did not give me access into the factories. So I've come here on my own, seeking to find out how the collapse of these factories is affecting lives here. The contribution of industry and manufacturing to Ghana's GDP has fallen from over 10% in 1993 to around 3% as of 2014.
The plans were that they were going to supply more than 80% of the bottle needs, anything to do with glass of the country. And of course, this time you have all these beer breweries, Coca-Cola, Fanta, and what have you. And then anything, and later on they would have gone to slit this flat glass sheets using all sort of in building houses and that sort of thing.
The people who suffer the most in an industrial bust of the scale like that which has happened in Aboso are the country's poorest and most vulnerable. Private mining companies here try to employ young people, but a global price collapse of resources like gold means they are slashing jobs and many are being asked to go home, causing even more joblessness.
People are stealing, thieves, everything. This social rights, people are, that's what I'm saying, everybody's struggling to earn a living. So any means at all, he gets money, they're struggling.
For Joy News, my name is Justice Baidu.
Now, Justice Baidu's documentary titled Ghost Factories goes on the Joy News channel from Monday, so do make a date for that. Meanwhile, former board chair of Unilever Ghana and private business consultant Ishmael Yamsing is blaming the current industrial challenges on lack of foresight on the part of government. In a submission on the AM Roadshow special on Ghana's industrial sector, Mr. Yamsing said the inability of the government to commit to the implementation of a clear policy direction is what has collapsed many industries.
What we need is a clear direction of where we want to go with the industry. What we need is then ruthless policy implementation and a commitment that that policy should succeed, and is very fundamental. Unless we do that, and I can tell you that in the last 3-4 years, we lost a lot of companies. Many companies have just shut down because we knew, as a country, we knew 5 years, 6 years, 7 years, 8 years back that we were running into a huge energy gap.
In his response, the Minister of State in charge of Public-Private Partnership, Rashid Pelpo, said government is taking a bold step in its bid to address the challenges.
We cannot differentiate between what the economy is and what the private sector is. They are very intertwined. So policy about them must also be very definite. and would have to be understood by previous governments, so that we don't seem to feel that because Party A was in power and ran these policies, we are in power, we won't run that policy, and it will still be okay. Yeah. And we must have a very conscious citizen, you know, a very conscious civil society that will put government on its toes, and that would be very conscious about the fact that the economy must be up and doing, you know. So I think that we are on track. What the president has just started doing is to focus on the private sector, and then to say that there must be a minister in charge of it, and it must be at his presidency. So,
all right, up next we bring you entertainment with Miss G. All right, so it's time for entertainment, or should I say it's time for Ibramata?
Yes, it's time for Ibramata. Yeah. It's actually time for
Ibramata
because he's back in Ghana. Yeah. And of course, we've been tracking him all over the place. And we met him at the airport, and he had a nice conversation.
That's the stuff celebrities are made of.
Exactly.
You track them at the airport.
True. So he had a conversation with Ibrahim Bembako.
Well, I make a deal with Tom's Dad because that's their first time their show is going on red carpet. So we made a deal that my manager made a deal that after that they're going to give 10K shows to my country, and I said cool.
Who is your favorite celebrity?
Well, I have a lot of celebrity like Mark Ruffalo.
Okay.
Well, every time I'm with Idris, I'm happy. Will Smith, Michael B. Jordan.
With local movie producers, have you heard anything from them? Have you heard anything from them?
No, I'm not going to do local movies.
You're not going to do local? Any reason why?
No, I'm not going to.
All right.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's Ibramata at the airport when he arrived. And, you know, he talked about Tom's, you know, being, because he had to wear for the first time, Tom's had their shoes going on the red carpet. We are getting 10,000 pairs of Tom's shoes. And of course, he says he's not acting local movies.
That was what I was waiting for you to talk about.
Yes, and so you know that he got an invitation to the Flagstaff House to meet the vice president. Yeah. And so the question was put to him there again that you say you won't act local movies. Is it Kumahood movies or Ghanaian movies? Which one? He says, no, all of them, no. Even Nigerian movies, no. And so he is only acting Hollywood movies.
Yeah, I'm not gonna feature Kumahood movie because I don't think if like my manager mentioned the price for them to pay me, I don't know if they are gonna pay me that price. Yeah, both local movie in Ghana.
So Ghana movie?
Yeah, Ghana movie industry.
Okay, what about Nigeria?
No. Well, it's part of Africa. Yeah.
Yeah, so Nigeria is part of Africa, and every other African country, he and acting for them. Okay, so he was with the vice president. The vice president took turns.
You're not going to ask for a comment from me?
Oh, for me? I don't have any comments. Okay, so you can comment.
I thought you were going to ask me.
Okay, so Israel, what do you think? You know, Chris Vincent is waiting for your comments.
No. Clearly, I think you shouldn't be making comments like this. I think I would advise that rather than say that he's not going to act in a local movie, he should say that it will depend on what my manager will say.
Well, perhaps he's spoken to his manager already, and he knows that for a fact that he cannot pay his manager.
I think he's still a kid.
Well,
I mean, he's obvious here.
Well, okay, so he's still a kid, and the vice president told his mom that, yes, he's still a kid, don't give him any special treatment, let him do his shows at home. And also, he says that Ibramata is now an ambassador for Ghana.
Now these days somebody will go out and say that, is that the country of Ibramata? And they said yes, so you're a huge ambassador. Nice son to your parents, you do your housework, you do the chores that they assign to you. You say that now you are in film and therefore you won't do it. Mommy, don't make him special. You have to make sure that he's so congratulations, and were you taught some acting at home?
Yeah, when I got after the audition, I was having an acting lesson with a white lady called Zoe Martinson for I think 1 month or 3 weeks here.
So
before.
That helped you?
Yeah, that helped me to bring it out.
You become a star. People like to bring you down. And I hope that it will not discourage you. Because when they criticize you, they mean for you to do even better. So don't take the criticism as something that is trying to pull you down. Take the criticism as something that is helping you to go forward, to excel, to do even better than what you have done.
All right, so I couldn't help but notice that Abraham Attah is wearing, I think that's camouflage, right?
Oh, okay, he
and
is.
You're wearing some, and I'm thinking that probably he got it for you from the US.
Oh, you haven't heard that now Abraham Attah has been added to my name. In fact, people call me Miss G Attah or Miss G Abraham Attah. So it could be possible.
I mean, I know you guys are cool like that.
Oh, very, very cool.
I'm be surprised if
he sent it to me way before he even got to Ghana. So he told me that this is what I'll be wearing, Miss G. Rep me. So I'm repping Abraham Attah, you know.
I can see that.
Okay, so how much did you pay for your dowry? Tell me.
Dowry?
Yeah.
I don't recall. It's been a while.
It's been a while.
You mean the dowry I paid for my wife?
Yes.
I don't recall.
You don't recall?
Yeah.
Was more than 50 Ghana cedis?
Oh, certainly.
Okay.
Certainly.
So back in the day where, back in time when you were getting married,
this was 12 years ago.
12 years ago, we're still using the old CDs. We're spending the old CDs. So I'm sure you gave 500 old Ghana CDs.
500 old Ghana CDs.
That's 50 Ghana CDs now.
Nah.
Okay, nah. Okay. The Minister
what are you trying to drive at?
Wait. The Minister for Tourism, Creative Arts and Culture says that her husband paid just 50 Ghana cedis 16 years ago when he was getting married to her. And here's why.
My dad said he doesn't want to be tagged as a man that you need a lot of money to marry his daughter. And so when it comes to money, he needs something very small, just a token. But you can give whatever you want from your heart, but it shouldn't be plenty too. What he wants is for them to take us away and take good care of us.
Awesome.
Yes, so that's all he wanted. And so I remember how much my husband paid.
How much was it?
50 Ghana cedis.
50 Ghana cedis?
Yes.
Was she singing that for the husband?
Lexus.
Or for Lexus?
Yes, for Lexus Bill.
Lexus Bill?
So sing for me too.
You? Lexus Bill?
Why? Why?
Okay.
So sing for me. So
now,
let's make Lexus jealous, because I was jealous when I heard that she sang for him.
Okay, let's do that later.
Oh.
Yeah.
You always fall my hand.
You mean fire killer?
No. You don't like me cry, rap for me, no. Dance for me, no. Sing for me, no. So what will you do?
Other things.
Like what? Hey, no, please. Okay, so this weekend, Harbour City Records, in partnership with Hits FM, we are partying with the stars at Komsi Beach Pram Pram. And ahead of the show, we've been having some stars pass through Hits FM. And guess who passed through this morning? Chewa was around this morning.
Hey.
Yes, yesterday. And you know, Chewa rapped. You know, Chewa, Charlie, you fall my hand, but Chewa would do better with you when she sees you.
Chewa rapped?
I'm telling you.
You're going to play that for
Israel. Chewa rapped. This year's Independence Day celebration falls on Sunday, 6th of March, and for the party lovers, all roads leads to Komsi Beach Ningo Pram Pram for the maiden edition of Party with the Stars. Some stars billed to perform at the venue include Wakesik, Don Z,
fire burn you all. Someone to me, yeah, I shame you all.
Kumahood stars Kwekumenu and Chewa, Galaxy Boys, Bukum Banku, Stage A, Nifani, D Crime Double, and many more. Artist Double, Nifani, Stage A, Donzi, and Kumahood actress Chewa say they are ready to party with your fans.
When you go pram pram, yeah, somebody come to me, somebody come to me.
And Chewa rapped, Israel.
That's the rap?
Israel, you can't do close to that. I dare
Somebody
you.
come
In fact,
to me. Somebody come to me. Somebody come to me.
In fact, she just stole Chewa's lines. She has to sue you. You don't have original lines. You don't have original lyrics, so
she should go ahead and sue me. I mean, she just did something. You said it's a rap.
It's rap. Somebody come to me, do yours. Like, I double dare you, Israel. Israel.
Time is up.
Oh. That's your wrap. That's your wrap.
Time is up.
Anyway, so premiering this evening at the Silverbird Cinemas and the West Hill Mall is Any Other Monday. It's a movie from the ABC Stables and it's spearheaded by Kafu Danko. She was with me this morning and she says it's pathetic to do a movie in Ghana because after you've done all the hard work, you still have people calling you, can I get tickets, free tickets?
Oh, yeah.
And it's very, very sad for them.
I don't think so. I mean, some people were there before we came. They were working really hard. I believe they kind of set the pace. They've worked hard for us to come and then continue. I have been dying to work with the older ones, all the Jifak crews. I worked with the late Solomon Sampa on Letters to My Mother. It was so awesome. I worked with Uncle Ben Bracco, Mikio Sebeko on The Devil in the Dress, Happy Death Day. I worked with Mama Vivian Nacho. I'm looking forward to working with like maybe the Berivazins, the covers. I mean, I used to love them. I grew up watching them on black and white TV. So now being into the city and filming with them, it's fun. I looked forward to this day and it's here.
So how do you make your money?
It's frustrating when you want to premiere and you put everything into promo and everybody wants a free ticket. We shot with money. We promoted with money. We do everything with money. Month billboards, we pay for jingles, we pay for TV, everything with money. And then at the end of the day, we have to give all the tickets for free. You know, we need the support.
Fred is waiting to take you back to the hotel.
All right, we just spared everybody else because we're prime time news. You don't show stuff like that.
Yeah.
She was almost exposing stuff
That's too bad.
Shouldn't have been true. Okay, but of all the things that were said, there's a phrase that I used to watch them back
on black and white TV. And that was her response to Juliet Ibrahim's claim that the new crop of movie stars are the ones selling Ghanaian movies. She said it's not true.
See, when they say that to you, that's a way of telling you that you become a dinosaur. I wouldn't want anybody to say that to me. Nah.
No.
Just watch me on black and white.
Yes.
That makes me so old.
Very. You didn't know you were that old?
Right, that's it for entertainment, and we have sports next. All right, so it's time for sports, and Gary Smith has joined me. Good evening to you, Gary.
Good evening, Israel.
And tonight, Heart of Folk is talking about, the approaches they are using,
to win matches in the league.
To win matches. Scientific approach and all that.
So, to borrow your words, they are using scientific approaches because they don't want to be called dinosaurs.
Yes, I don't want to be called a dinosaur.
So but they don't want to be called a dinosaur club.
Okay, so I'm a Hearts fan.
Oh!
But they should slow down.
They should slow down.
Because
it's just too much.
It's just too much.
I know, man.
They should hold on. I mean,
when you get to like 15,
then you can begin, talking about that. Anyway,
okay.
So what's coming up?
In the sport right now, thank you very much for joining us on the Sports on Pulse. Hello, I'm Gary Al Smith. And Heart of Folk are in the news today because they are saying that ahead of their matches with Ebusia Dwarfs this weekend, they are using scientific approaches to win their games. Vincent Soa Odote says that he's the chairman of the strategic committee of the club, and he feels that the club is moving forward in a positive direction.
To me, it's a congruence of functions. The board chairman believes in scientific management. I'm sure you know I believe in scientific management and the strategic committee. And our coach believes in scientific management. So all components of the team, the board, the management, and the technical team, we are pulling on the same side. So I believe that's what's making the difference.
So Heart of Folk will be playing Ebusia Dwarfs this weekend in the Ghana Premier League. That game will be in Cape Coast. 7 other matches will be played, and here are the fixtures for you. Tomorrow we have Ash Gold versus Chelsea. Don't forget that Ash Gold didn't play the last time because they were having African Champions League action. Brekum Chelsea also will be looking for another win. They've won 1 and lost 1 so far. Kotoko will be at home against Mediama. Mediama have lost 2 in 2. Kotoko have won just 1 game so far. Bechem United versus New Dubiase also will be at Bechem. Techiman City versus Adriana, that will be a big one because Techiman have just been promoted, but they look like a team who are really serious. Adriana Stars having so many issues. Their coach has resigned, not been sacked, and they will have to have somebody else in the dugout. While All Stars are on top of the league, and they'll be playing Liberty Professionals. Liberty beats Inter Allies, who will be playing Dreams FC. Inter Allies, don't forget, the last time they started with 7 players that were changed from their first game, and so that will be interesting to see. Wafa have also lost 1 and played 1, and they will be at Sogakope against Hazakes. The story about Hazakes is simple, really. It is that they won by a couple of goals the last time. Eric Bequin scored twice, and they feel that they can do more, even though they are having so many problems with the lack of payment of salaries and all. Away from the Ghana Premier League, though, we can check out the latest with Avram Grant. As you know, he has been ordered back to Ghana by the Ghana Football Association, and somebody who is having a strong view is Kwabna Yeboah, the president of the Sport Writers Association of Ghana, is calling Avram Grant to book after flouting the orders of the Ghana Football Association. He says that the GFA should take a very strong stance against Avram Grant.
Several months ago, I put in the public domain how Avram Grant wanted to leave the country and how the FA president himself didn't want him to leave, and he flouted the instructions of the FA left. I get very, very surprised. I'm just wondering that if Avram Grant was one of our own, this is the way the FA would treat him, with kid gloves. If the man is not interested in handling the national team, if he feels too big to handle the national team, I believe that it's time for the FA to be blunt and look him in the eye and tell him to get off and employ whoever is interested in handling the national team. But in blunt terms, I think the FA has been very, very soft on Avram Grant. He's not supposed to be staying outside all his time, and then when we have a time, we have a match, he conducts himself as one of the players, only comes for the match.
It's an issue that's still trending heavily on social media, so head over to our Twitter feed at Joy Sports GH. You are going to find a poll there where we are asking, do you think if Avram Grant does this again, he overstays his holidays again, it should be a reason why he should be sacked? So far, 82% of you feel that it's a sackable offense and he should be sacked. Keep voting. Go to the Joy Sports Twitter page. To the Barclays Premier League now, and the team whose fans are not happy at all is Arsenal. The Gunners have lost ground, and a lot of people feel that after their last loss against Swansea, it is curtains for their title charge. Let's get a sampling of what fans feel